one time versus 3 times.
Yeah.
And, so efficiencies are something that, and thank God Darrell was so receptive to all of this. Not one time did he say, I'm not really comfortable with all this change. You're going to have to do this yourself.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not stuck once you figured out what you think is the perfect way. So it's really good to hear that he's interested in finding better ways. It's cool.
He's laid back. He's Darrell.
So much, anyone who's had to try to process like an entire, like 3 or 4 bushels of apples to try to make cider out of them in your living room knows that you have to have somewhere to put your waste, you have to have somewhere to put the clean stuff, you have to put somewhere the dirty stuff, you have to, have a surface you can chop stuff up on. I mean, you have to set your stuff up, otherwise you just end up running back and forth all the time.
Yeah, and I do this, every day for the past 30-odd years. So
it's even more important in a restaurant because time is money.
And Tony just pointed out it's literally a hive mind mentality in the food industry because it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to shuck oysters, you don't, bring out your 5 bushels of oysters into the prep area and then start, turn on the radio and eat a cheeseburger. You put on a coat and you go in and you shuck in the walk-in. It's and then, you just using carts and shelving and all the stuff that, I have in the restaurant that a mead making operation might not have.
Mm-hmm.
From, these rolling speed racks where you put sheet pans in and, how to, keep all of your utensils in that, sort of aseptic environment so you don't have cross-contamination. So there's a lot of very similar habits, but, I was able to, make these changes and make things more efficient and, how to, instead of getting honey in 5-gallon buckets, I don't know about you guys, but it's not as easy for me nowadays to lift up a 5-gallon bucket and hold it and let it drip out. So, getting a bucket jack and, ordering, 2,000 buckets that are 4-gallon and are square instead of 5-gallon and are round. They, fit better on a pallet. They're easier to lift and blah, easier to stack and all this stuff. So, things like that I've been able to do. One thing I'm working on now is scaling up from 15-gallon fermenters to 450-gallon fermenters.
Okay.
And so
that's a big jump.
That requires that's a really big jump.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you're gonna make a jump,
might as well.
You still need the pumps, the hoses, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's anytime you're jumping from basically glorified homebrewing equipment, it's a necessary leap. But I'm just trying to figure out how to do this without investing thousands and thousands of dollars. The revenues that are created from current mead sales now are just going back into the company, and I'm sure everyone out there can relate to that. But I hope to make this profitable, and I believe the only way to make it profitable is to keep your costs down and keep as many middlemen out as you can and sell to the end user, and all those old business practices, those best practices that will allow us to be successful. Because unlike winemaking, winemaking is that's a rich man's little hobby. That's all ego. You've got a chateau, you've got a viticulturist, you've got a tractor, you've got outhouses and barns and crushers, and anytime you can say, well, this came from Portugal or Spain or Italy or France, people are like, whoa, shit, man, are you a trust funder, or what's going on? Where'd you make all your money? I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that says, identified early on that in order to make mead, you need honey. And in order to get honey, you just call a beekeeper. So you don't need property. You don't need, a chateau. You don't need, that Falcon crest setting. With your Porsche 911 going up the curvy driveway and up to the big stone castle house. No, this is 800 square feet of industrial warehouse, that has honey shipped to it. And that was a very attractive piece to the business model for me. Mead is inexpensive to make. The only, it's the cost of the honey that's the tricky part. So I don't need to take care of land and property and all that stuff that goes into the wine industry. I don't need to, in the beer industry, I don't need to cook the grain and have all these expensive pumps and fermenters and all this stuff. It's literally in the business world what they call just add water.
Yeah.
How complicated is your business model? And at one end under the spectrum, you've got very complex, and then you've got what they literally in the business world say it's a just add water kind of concept where it's very easy, very scalable. So mead literally, is just adding water.
It really is, yeah.
Where you are, maybe. I have to actually have bees. So.
Yeah, bees and land are required in Canada. You don't have a choice in the matter.
Yep. There's no way I can start small.
For me, though, to make the mead, I can just call a beekeeper.
Yeah.
And, I can go from there. And I can pay a fair price to a beekeeper, because a lot of the beekeepers, they get lowballed a lot of times with their honey. Hey, I can buy, honey for $1.50 a pound. Why am I going to pay you $4.50?
Because this didn't come from China. Exactly.
And I'm like, I don't even want to talk about that stuff. $4.50, anything under $4 a pound, I shy away from it. Something's not right. You're feeding it syrup or whatever. Actually, the more expensive the honey, the more I like it, because I'm literally just adding water and I'm selling it to the end user. I don't have all these middlemen, so I'm going to give a beekeeper a much better price than what he's going to get anywhere else, for bulk honey. And to be honest with you, because we have the Hive market, I also sell their bottling honey under their own label. I also carry it in the store. And we pay, we do not lowball our people. If they say, yeah, you're going to be paying, $7 a pound for this honey, because it's a single source. I get 15 gallons a year, and I've got 300 jars. And that's it. It's your cost is going to be $12 a jar for 10 ounce. So I'm like, great. I don't squabble with my beekeepers, and I would say that's why they like doing business with me.
Cool.
For the most part, there's always an exception out there, but.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get a really good deal.
Or sometimes you get, the occasional, what I call pseudo beekeepers, are not honey producers or beekeepers. They're just buying barrels of honey and pretending to be a beekeeper, which I've run into that on 2 occasions in 5 years. So
they're honey distributors rather than beekeepers.
Yeah, but they were pretending to. Their website was saying other things, and they were telling me other things, and those are people we just don't do business with at all. But but generally, beekeepers are really, a bunch of stand-up people, doing nothing but good things for agriculture. You know, they don't like pesticides; it kills their bees. And you know, they're possessive. They really don't want to get rid of their honey. You know, it's like part of them is leaving, and I'm telling them I'm going to put this to good use, and I'm going to give you some mead on top of that. So, you know, a good deal is when everyone's truly happy in the end. And you know, deals don't have to be one-sided. You know, you getting over on somebody, it's only going to last for so long. You know, when you've got a good thing going, everyone's happy. And that's you know what we've been blessed with the Hive Market, the Beestro, and Falcon is. You know, there are business models that do work out there. And this one's proving to be is you know, good for everyone. You know, from the consumer to me to, you know, people at the beginning of the chain to the end of the chain.
Nice.
You know, it's how we can all best serve our community. And you know, I know what my role is. It's not beekeeping. You know, people. That's one of the first questions they ask. Do you keep bees? Nope. I'm actually allergic to them. So.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be keeping them then.
It's my kryptonite. You know, I get my power from it, but too much of it can kill me. So, yeah, and that's my leg on the stool. That's what I do. That's my role, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I get to meet amazing people and go to some amazing places here in New Mexico. And you know, just a few weeks ago, getting the lowdown on the honey to be able to tell the consumer about it is really important. And I got to learn about our cactus mesquite honey and where it comes from, and one of our beekeepers telling the story about you know, everything from geological references to the continental divide to you know, different identifiers along the way to find this floral source. And you know, Ken Garrison with Star G Honey tells this amazing story about where to find this mesquite cactus flower honey. And the story starts out on a cap rock that runs through the Las Vegas valley from eastern New Mexico all the way to the Oklahoma border, and then there's a river that, you know, jets south, and that's where you'll find the northernmost mesquite in North America is right in this sort of little vein. And you know, he talks about this special cactus, this yarrow cactus that spits out this tiny little yellow flower, and you know, it just goes into this amazing story about it, and it's just like, oh, and you know, by the way, here's what it tastes like. It's just like, you take that experience and you give it to people, and it's just like, I just went with you on this journey and tasted it, and yeah, I'll take 10 jars, please. And you know, I get to promote New Mexico, you know, the land of enchantment. It's just a wonderful, enchanting, wonderful place. I said both words twice because it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down there. It's I've never been to Santa Fe. In fact, I've never been to New Mexico. I've been to Tucson and Phoenix in Arizona, but I've never been to New Mexico, so I'm excited about that. And we're planning on stopping in Tucson, Phoenix area because the Tucson is home to the world's largest airplane graveyard. My husband is salivating, and frankly, so am I, more than a little bit, because cool, more planes than anybody's ever seen in their lives. And then I want to go to the Grand Canyon.
Well, I'm really glad you guys are going there first, and that's going to be June, right?
Probably July by then.
July?
Yeah, it'll be July by then.
Even better. So it'll be nice and ripping hot.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So
like stupid hot.
By the time you get up here, and you know, we're higher than Denver here in